Hello everyone, welcome to episode 8 of Reading Layamon's Brut. Previously, after defeating the Greeks and capturing the king, Brutus called a council to determine the Trojans' next course of action. All agreed that they would demand that the king grant them freedom from slavery, that his daughter would marry Brutus, and that he would supply them with ships and provisions for a long journey, so that they could find a new homeland. Thar letten bringen then a king out of Quatzerne, and his brother mit him, beine together, mit ihren benden beforen Brutene. Her him to klepeden, and lath spell him kudden. Her seiden that her shoulder ben an hongen, an unne hee treu, other mit horsen to drauen, mit droflitsen vitan. Buten her hem lette frere, ta faren of his londe. Jeve hem al his achter, de he bietten machte, and alle his shippen gode, the floten besee flode. And his dochter ignogen, here dok to querne. Then they caused the king to be brought out of his prison, and his brother with him, both of them together, with iron chains, before Brutus. They spoke to him, and said to him the hateful news, the bad news. They said that he must be hung on a high tree, or drawn apart with horses, with severe punishments. This word is usually spelt with a W, weta, but here we have a variant with a V. Unless he let them go free, to go out of his land, and give to them all his possessions which he could obtain, and all his good ships which float or sail on the sea flood. This word is by, but we need to translate it as on. And his daughter Ignigan, as the queen to their leader. The king hine bethoughte, what her don machte, sari he was on lieve, thus tidende, him were an lathe. Of death he hevde kare, drove he was on mode. Pandrasos an swerte, mit sergful woorden. Je biddeth mine dochter swa hende, and haldeth mij in a bende, and Antigonum mine brother, mit armliche wieten. And mine men je habbeth is slauen, and jerneth mine mathmes, and mine leve dochter, to swa lathe mannes behove. Ach her mot neer de bijen, the mon the ibunden beeth. The king thought about this, bethought himself. He reflected and considered what he could do. He was sorrowful in his life. These tidings were hateful to him. He had sorrow or care of death. He was troubled or perturbed in his mind. Pandrasus answered with sorrowful words, "You ask for my daughter so good or so dear, and you hold me in chains, as well as Antigonus my brother, with sorrowful punishments. And you have slain my men, and you ask for my treasures, and my dear daughter, to the, or for the advantage or the benefit of so hateful a man." Now, if you remember earlier on, we saw there was some confusion between the pronouns, so he and her seemed to get mixed up. That seems to be happening a bit in this passage. So this is probably meant to be the masculine pronoun he. But he must needs bow the man who is bound or in chains. So in other words, even though the King Pandrasus really doesn't like these requests, he's in chains, and so he doesn't have much choice in the matter. Jur axe ich jo leve, lath hit me were, and if je belaffen wulden in a mere therden, al thriden dale mi londe, ich wulde setten brutten an hond, and freen al his folk and friendshippe makien, and ignogen mine dochter, jeven jure duke, and swa we schulden beleven, leve myers, ur lief laden, lithen to sumne. I grant to you your ask, your request, though it were hateful to me, and if you would remain in or among my people, a whole third part of my land I would set in hand to Brutus. This word can be a bit tricky, belaven. We have seen it before, and when we saw it before, it meant to leave or to abandon. Here it actually has the opposite meaning, and it means to remain. So you really need to determine the meaning of the word from the context. So the king is still speaking, and I would also free all Brutus's people and make friendship, and give to your leader Ignagan, my daughter, and so we should remain as dear kinsmen, and lead our life to go together. Daar answarte Brutus, there was sporrene duke. Nulle we noch thison fon, a where faren willeth. And those with a handliche shield they with deather. Jef us that we wilnieth, if thou libben wilt. The king sende his sonde, jand all Griklonde, that may hit him to brochte, alle his achte, and greithede his shippen gode, bithan sa flode, and all that daarto behovede, hechliche I funden. Alswa her woelden here lavert, from Lothen a lezen. All his men doden, swa the king hechte. Then answered Brutus, who was a born ruler, We will not accept this, but we wish to go, and you very quickly or very urgently shield yourself against death by granting our requests. Give us what we want if you wish to live. The king sent his messengers throughout all of Greece, and the content of the message is that people bring it to him, it being all his possessions. And this is past tense. Remember what we said last time about the future in the past. And prepared his good ships upon the sea flood, and all that was necessary for them was greatly provided. This is the same word as the word for find, as in to discover, but it can also mean provide, and that's the sense that it has here. So they should do all this, the people should do all this, just as they wished to release their lord from bad things, from evil, from trouble. And all his men did just as the king commanded. The shippen weren igrethed, mit god grund fulled. The king gef Brutun his dochter, there was his bairn dera, and all that forward was elast. Da fusten da ferde, wenden richt to the rasa, sella the thines. Muchel was the blisse the Brutus hefde mit him, Brutus no mignogen, and into ship a lade. Her richten her rapes, her rarten her mastes, her wunden upseiles, wind stowed on willen. 16 see the 20 shippen, tuchten from havene, and fair shippen grete, the weren grund laden, mit den best weapnen the Brutus havede. The ships were prepared, they were ground-filled or filled from the base with goods or supplies. The king gave to Brutus his daughter, who was his dear child, and all that agreement was kept. Then the army hastened, or hurried. The good thanes, or the good warriors, went straight to the sea. Great was the joy which Brutus had with him. Brutus took Ignagan, and led her into the ship. They straightened their ropes, they raised their masts, they wound up the sails, and the wind stood in their will, or in their favour. 16 times 20 ships departed from the harbour. I believe that's 320. And 4 great ships, which were ground-laden, and this is similar to the Grundfulled in line 546, so they're completely full from the base, from the ground, the base of the ship up, with the best weapons which Brutus had. Her fusten from Stronde, ut of Griklonde, her wenden uti wide sa, the wilde worten itemed. They hurried away from the shore, out of Greece. They went into the wide sea, where the wild waves were tamed. And that is where we'll leave it today. Again, this is a shorter episode, but that's just because of how the narrative breaks up, and I think this is a good place to leave it. Thank you very much for watching. If you have any comments or questions or feedback or corrections or any other sort of suggestions, please don't hesitate to get in touch. You can comment below, or you can comment on the Facebook page, and you'll find the link to that in the video description below. All the best, and I'll see you next time.